Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Metagame Minute. So combat heavy episode. It's been a while since we've had like an episode that's been all fighting the whole time. It's kind of refreshing because I don't know if it was mentioned or not in the last, I don't know, maybe this is wrong. But I recall some sessions the previous weeks where I hadn't like rolled any dice, which is fun. That's like my favorite type of D&D personally, but like, is it D&D if dice isn't rolled? Who knows? Well, this makes up for it. And Alex outdid himself again with the map making. Yeah, I assume that he went on to Roll20 and crafted this map.
This one is by designer Simple Map Maker.
Oh, Simple Map Maker. Okay, well, I'm glad I said something.
Yeah, really. Yeah, he's that
because it is
fantastic.
It is a simple map, which I was going to point out, but it's like there's something that's like really evocative about it. Like when we first came in, I was just looking at it like, oh, whoa, I know right where we are, you know. And there's something about simple maps, not to beat a dead horse, that I think are a little bit more evocative than like overly dense maps or maps with like lots of details or little subtleties to them. So anyway, let's take it around the horn, reverse order, starting with Mr. Ball, Milo himself. You made it to the top of the tree on the inside. What was your goal for this episode? Were you happy with the outcome? What was Ball thinking? Take us where you want.
Everything went kind of shitty for Ball. He got teleported out of the fight, and then his friend got knocked unconscious in one shot, and then there was nothing when I went up the stairs. Yeah, it was.
I gotta ask you, from a role-playing perspective, are you taking into consideration like when Chain gets messed up? Like, is that something that comes into play? Like, oh, Ball is now worried about Chain, or yeah.
Do you guys have that connection where you know when he's down?
No, there's nothing like that. It doesn't say anything about it, at least.
They're just bros.
I imagine I probably would have seen something going on when I get to the other side. I have to be able to see him and command him for all of his things, so I don't think there's any connection like that.
Is he able to act on his own if you are, like, say you're
kicked
move
out of
the
and
plane?
Take the dodge action.
But no proactive movement.
No, he can't attack or anything like that on his own.
Interesting. Anything else you want to touch on? What are you thinking about?
I think this is a really awesome place.
Yes.
Although I hated it, getting teleported out of there and then like making the decision to jump back in and then having like this like thing happen as I get teleported back to the situation. I thought that was really rad.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought that was super cool. I think this is an awesome encounter. I just hate everything that's happened.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Let's kick it over to Scory Telbrun, Mr. Caleb, the man with a plan.
Well,
the spider dragging his butt
generous.
on everything. Do you see my virtual background? It's pretty convincing.
I do. Yeah, it's spider webs everywhere. So
everywhere.
So I pretty much all I've done this episode is move and climb, and that's pretty much it. But I won't say that it has been boring because it's been pretty exciting for me. I was able at least to lay a tracker on Wolf. He was a willing participant in that. But I am a little disappointed that we ended it where we did because I was about to do something potentially cool if I roll well enough. But I guess we're just going to have to save that for next episode.
Yeah, I got to admit, I'm always kind of a fan of like when our show goes off the rails in kind of a fun way. And I thought your argument with Alex about the webs was funny as hell. Because it just seems like Alex was being so gracious about it. He's like, no, not in this instance. And you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Well,
this is our chance to make precedent.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like in my day job, I work with attorneys. Like that's my thing. And so I got to pitch my argument, and maybe there's something persuasive enough, even if I have to roll a persuasion on my own DM.
I did like that. You're like, look, can I roll a persuasion? Do I take into account Scory's stats or Caleb's stats here? Because Caleb, man, he's got a +10 to persuasion.
Yeah, but not charisma. But honestly, I mean, I feel like knowledge of the natural world, knowing that we've all seen a spider drag its butt. And
have we though?
Still pitching it.
Raise of
Still
hand.
pitching it.
Who has seen a spider drag its ass and lay webs everywhere?
I have
Raise your
never
hand
seen
if you've
this.
seen that.
I've never seen that.
Are you kidding me? I bet. Okay, we're gonna do a Twitter poll after this.
I also challenge. Let's see the Twitter poll. But I also anybody listen to this Metagame Minute, hit us up on Twitter or in our Discord if you're part of that.
Yeah, where you at on spider dragging ass?
Yeah, have you seen this?
Use the heart eyes slider and tell us.
# spider ass drag.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I thought that was great. So
no, it was very reminiscent. It was very reminiscent to me of certain things where I had little flashbacks of DMing for Caleb when he would try his chicanery, and I was like, Alex is handling this way better than me because I immediately just got annoyed and was like, no.
Well, what's funny is then I'm kind of the opposite where he was like pitching it and I was like, I kind of go with like Brandon Sanderson's like air on the side of awesome. And I'm like, he kind of made a case for that. Like, I'd never seen that, but like, what would happen if we allowed it?
And that's what I'm holding on to. That hope, that shred of hope is what I'm holding on to. And
I guess I spoiled it too much.
Someday my DM will be persuaded, and that will be the day that I cry on a live stream.
It kind of reminds me of when Yamhorn was like trying to get that shield in a solo episode, and you just like would not take your failure.
Which there's a reason why that's never seen the light of day. Nobody has heard it except for us.
Yeah, I don't even think I've heard that.
It was hilarious. When Yamhorns was one of my favorite solo episodes that I DM'd, but there was one scene in particular where we probably spent like 15 or 20 minutes on it.
Part of it was because of bad rolling. And
it was 100% because of bad rolling.
Decisions. Yeah.
It was all bad rolling, to be honest. It was not really like bad RP. Let's pass right over to me for the time being and go to Referian Night Meadow, aka Bentley.
Yeah. You always do this, but then you never ask me a question. You set everybody else up, and then you just say my name and don't say anything.
Bro, it's because you got the same talking muscles as I got, so I just kind of assume you're going to jump right in. Well, so
what would
Riff,
you like to know?
Riff, kind of like doing the lone wolf thing a little bit, sticking over there, hadn't moved much. What's Riff's thoughts for the plan on tackling this? Like, you've been a part of our party now for several days. I don't know how long it's been in game. That's true. We're a part of Riff's party. But you do the lone wolf thing, and then the warlock creature Fruit Loop guy goes after you, does all this bit. Like, I'm just curious, like, where's Riff's mindset in this whole thing? Because Riff, I got to admit, like, aside from a few elucidating moments, like I think last session there was a couple, is the least relatable or understandable character to me. And I don't think that that's like a bad thing. I think it's just because like you role play it in such a like interesting, like you're literally going for like, I think we talked about this in the other metagame minutes, but like that kind of ADHD, child gets bored with the adult stuff. So it's like, that's always super understandable. But like, as far as the rest of it goes, I have a hard time, like, I guess, not out of game, not metagaming, but like in game, just like what's that child doing over there?
Well, and Riff is the reason we're here.
That's true. Exactly. So what are you thinking, seeing that like we're in another dimension? Dude, total badassery too when you made that save and you don't even like the psychic damage just like washed over you. That was awesome. And I felt like totally in line with stuff we've seen from Riff before.
Very lucky. In this scenario, Riff knows that we are the reason Toucan Sam has seen me the most, and so I'm trying to be safe because I only have 17 hit points and I'm fairly easy to hit. So like I'm just trying to be safe, and so initially it was just about like being in the bushes and being safe and then having that action ready for firebolt rather, and then like once it attacked me, I got super lucky on that natural 20.
Yeah, that was slick.
And then it was all about getting to my group. I do like the group. Riff is a fan of the group.
Oh, good.
You know, and that sort of thing.
Badass cloak on still, so you're welcome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the hood of the bird. I forgot about that. I gotta look up on that and see if there's anything I can use it with.
I gotta Google my item every single time we play.
I forgot to print it out again. But like I did turn myself into what looks like a Kenku, you know, at least on this plane or whatever. So hopefully that'll sort of come into to help. But it's more once it was all about the liberation, you know, that's sort of my mission as this shadow monk. You know, it's not dissimilar to, you know, I'm just doing like my version of Aang from Last Airbender, basically. And so it's like,
which I dig. Hey, now on Netflix, baby.
Yep. And so it's like I felt like I had to help these Kenku, and I would never, you know, as I do try to play it as much as like as an 11-year-old kid who has extraordinary abilities, to be like, oh, I can totally handle this. Let's go do that. And then all of a sudden now we're in a different plane, and I just my shit was just more than halved in one attack. And again, Riff just got fucked up and is like really having to deal with the fact that like, oh, you know, sometimes people are more powerful than you, and maybe you should start thinking things through a little bit. But then also, I'm kind of sitting there going, nah, I just want to I just want to free the birds.
Free bird.
Yeah. Gotta go free bird.
Yeah. Something I keep coming back to as we're going through these conversations is the fact that we are all the creepy versions of ourselves in this plane. Like, if I look over at Riff, he's got, or she, or they have some sort of creepy appearance to them.
Pronoun.
Yeah, whatever the pronoun.
About that.
We all look creepy versions of ourselves right now, and in game it was kind of lost, but
I forgot. I personally forgot about it.
Yeah, there should have been more focus on that. I feel like it would have added to the
and that might be a question for
creepy environment.
That might be a question for Alex when we round this out. But one thing I wanted to hear from Riff before we moved on was like, is Riff ever going to learn? Like, I know that these lessons are kind of like few and far between for Riff, but like when she gets her butt just savagely boboed, like, is she going to like realize like, oh, like part of my success with this mission so far has been my party, like working together. Is that something that's ever going to click for Riff, or is it going to take a couple more beatings?
I don't think it's necessarily like something that Riff doesn't think about. Like, that's why Riff said we as a party should go help liberate this thing.
No, you're not wrong. I was just going off of like what you responded just a second ago. But I guess I'm just curious, like how do the beatings like play into like Riff's like character development, if at all? You know, like
the beatings. Yeah, the beatings.
The child abuse.
Yeah, the smackdowns. Definitely, like, I mean, you know, character wise or whatever. After I got beat up by that dwarf, I like definitely made a conscientious effort to say that I was practicing my training, doing my katas in the morning, doing that sort of stuff. And with this, I'm just trying to now in this scenario be the most utility player as I can, because I've got a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why I transformed into the Kenku. I got a lot of weird stuff. And then like the second that he said that like we look sort of like demon versions, it's like to me it was like Batman Begins, Scarecrow.
Yeah. With the drugs. That's dope.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I envisioned us. But as far as learning the lesson, we've always won. So like even though in the moment,
that's I think that more the heart of my question is Riff the type of person that takes these like these close calls, these like near losses as like, I am the best, or like, oh shit, I better be more careful in the future?
Nah, the first one.
Yeah, okay. Like Drakta.
And like, even though like we're bleeding and I was like bleeding a lot or so, you know, after that dwarf fight and everything, like even though we were all like pretty fucked up, and even right now we're pretty fucked up, if we beat this, Riff will definitely be like, Told you guys. See,
Nice.
Liberated the birds.
Positive reinforcement out of everything.
So Wolf has had, I think, a less productive combat session than historically true for him. What's going? Hey, I'm just speaking
that pretty little mouth.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, well,
you like that? I knew you would, but
well.
Anyway, so what's Wolf thinking during this whole thing? Like, you tried to charge up those stairs like early on.
Well, remember, I did cut that Kenku up pretty bad. I just didn't finish him off because Thrakus, he wants to focus on the big bad, right? And so immediately he couldn't get to the big bad, so he was going to try and find a way by going up the stairs. But now he's come to him, and now he's gonna go all out because it's time to prove his worth, his mettle, his bravery, and he wants to fight the biggest and the baddest guy on the battlefield every time. And I'm gonna go down swinging. That's for sure.
Yeah. I always, as Zephyrus, like put my link onto you because my link allows me to cast spells from your position. So like range is like less of an issue. And I always think that like Wolf is going to be like right in the midst of it. But then like things tend to end like before I really get a chance to like utilize my link in that way.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm hoping.
I was going to say, typically I'm in the middle of the fight. So
right.
That was one thing I appreciated about your character and your gameplay is in one of the recent releases in our live feed.
The Bobo Thorax?
Yeah, your response to the dragon that had the spear in it was, why don't you go get that fixed and then come back and then we'll fight.
I did. I was listening to that too. I was like, yes, it was so freaking Wolf. I want
a fair fight.
Yeah. I don't want any advantages. I want this.
And I feel like this kind of mirrors some of that a little bit.
Yeah. So I think this next episode, I hopefully I'll be able to do damage before I go down. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Cool. And we had a question for Alex that I meant to circle around to. Does anybody remember what it was?
Something about
right before we got to Riff.
Oh, the kind of dark versions of y'all.
Yeah. Yes.
Something about that.
Yes. Good luck piecing that.
Yeah. No, that's something I should have brought up more. It's a nature of this reality that you've been brought to.
Can you share with us
distorts everything? This kind of mad, wild, like you've looked at the abyss too long.
Right. It's like it's like the upside down or whatever. Like Stranger Things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Since it's Metagame Minute, is it the same plane that Riff sees into, or is it
the ghost plane?
So yeah, when Riff was seeing into a different plane at the prison, that was as far as Julia let you guys know, it sounded like a constructed plane that the mages had made.
All right.
This looks like something different for sure.
Could he swing any sort of advantage on these sort of weird plane dealings?
Wait, what do you mean? Who could?
So
does Riff have like an advantage because it's like a weird plane and like Riff is like good at weird planes?
Yeah, like it's a language. So somebody who speaks Draconic gets advantage or can understand Draconic anytime there's some sort of weird plane shift. Since Riff is dealing kind of in this weird shadow plane, is there a chance that Riff could also maybe translate it into whatever weird nonsense we're in now?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, no, Riff, you've got a benefit of kind of working with the different planes and at least have a perception. You're able to kind of like roll perception on these different kinds of things. Kind of the way Julia knows things are wrong about the different planes. Riff knows, can see kind of into those places. Has that, third eye kind of sight.
That was
like how Caleb was just trying to get case law again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that and that totally did not meet the burden of proof.
All right, guys. Well, look, hey, these metagame minutes have been getting longer and longer as we get further into isolation. But we appreciate you sticking with us. This is our free gift to you every Thursday. We love breaking down the episodes. We hope you enjoy them too. And if that's the case, hop on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast platform, and give us a rate and review. 5 stars if you love us. 4 if you love us. 3 if it's okay. 2 or 1 if you're like whatever.
5-star only. Anything else can suck it.
Yeah, 5 only.
Yeah.
You heard Riff and Wolf.
Also, Caleb changed my name in Zoom to Boner Sucker.
I did not. That was you.
I did not do that. Why would I do that? All right, guys.
Why would I do that?
We'll check you back on Monday with the next episode of Chaotic Amateurs. Is Wolf going to lay the smack down on this bitch? Find out then. Peace.